To make a great dream come true, the first requirement is a great capacity to dream. The second is persistence. True wealth is not measured in money or status or power. It is measured in the legacy we leave behind for those we love and those we inspire. We cannot seek achievement for ourselves and forget about progress and prosperity for our community. Our ambitions must be broad enough to include the aspirations and needs of others, for their sakes and for our own. Preservation of one's own culture does not require contempt or disrespect for other cultures. History will judge societies and governments, and their institutions, not by how big they are or how well they serve the rich and the powerful, but by how effectively they respond to the needs of the poor and the helpless. Grant me courage to serve others, for in service there is true life. The fight is never about grapes or lettuce. It is always about people. In giving of yourself, you will discover a whole new life full of meaning and love. Non-violence is not inaction. It is not discussion. It is not for the timid or weak. Non-violence is hard work. Our struggle is not easy. Those who oppose our cause are rich and powerful, and they have many allies in high places. We are poor. Our allies are few. But we have something the rich do not own. We have our bodies and spirits and the justice of our cause as our weapons. Students must have initiative. They should not be mere imitators. They must learn to think and act for themselves, and be free. Together, all things are possible. You cannot uneducate the person who has learned to read. You cannot oppress the people who are not afraid anymore. When the man who feeds the world by toiling in the fields is himself deprived of the basic rights of feeding, sheltering, and caring for his own family, the whole community of man is sick. You are never strong enough that you don't need help. If you really want to make a friend, go to someone's house and eat with him. The people who give you their food give you their heart. It's ironic that those who till the soil, cultivate and harvest the fruits, vegetables, and other foods that fill your tables with abundance have nothing left for themselves. We have looked into the future, and the future is ours. When any person suffers for someone in greater need, that person is a human. From the depth of need and despair, people can work together, can organize themselves to solve their own problems and fill their own needs with dignity and strength. In 1968, I became a vegetarian after realizing that animals feel afraid, cold, hungry, and unhappy like we do. We draw our strength from the very despair in which we have been forced to live. We shall endure. Real education should consist of drawing the goodness and the best out of our own students. What better books can there be than the book of humanity? Our language is the reflection of ourselves. A language is an exact reflection of the character and growth of its speakers. I am convinced that the truest act of courage, the strongest act of manliness, is to sacrifice ourselves for others in a totally non-violent struggle for justice. To be a man is to suffer for others. God help us to be men. We need to help students and parents cherish and preserve the ethnic and cultural diversity that nourishes and strengthens this community, and this nation. The love for justice that is in us is not only the best part of our being, but it is also the most true to our nature. There is enough love and goodwill in our movement to give energy to our struggle, and still have plenty left over to break down and change the climate of hate and fear around us. I am an organizer, not a union leader. A good organizer has to work hard and long. There are no shortcuts. You just keep talking to people, working with them, sharing, exchanging, and they come along. Being of service is not enough. You must become a servant of the people. When you do, you can demand their commitment in return. We must understand that the highest form of freedom carries with it the greatest measure of discipline. It is my deepest belief that only by giving our lives do we find life. We believe that unions have always been about much more than the industries in which they operate. The fight is never about grapes or lettuce. It is always about people. There's no turning back, we will win. We are winning because ours is a revolution of mind and heart. Once social change begins, it cannot be reversed. The people who give you their food give you their heart. Only when we have become non-violent towards all life will we have learned to live well with others. Just as Dr. King was a disciple of Gandhi and Christ, we must now be Dr. King's disciples. Dr. King challenged us to work for a greater humanity. I only hope that we are worthy of his challenge. Because we have suffered, and we are not afraid to suffer in order to survive, we are ready to give up everything, even our lives, in our struggle for justice. When you sacrifice, you force others to sacrifice. It's an extremely powerful weapon. Our very lives are dependent, for sustenance, on the sweat and sacrifice of the campesinos. Children of farm workers should be as proud of their parents' professions as other children are of theirs. There are many reasons for why a man does what he does. To be himself, he must be able to give it all. If a leader cannot give it all, he cannot expect his people to give anything. When we are really honest with ourselves, we must admit our lives are all that really belong to us. So it is how we use our lives that determines the kind of men we are. To make a great dream come true, the first requirement is a great capacity to dream. The second is persistence. True wealth is not measured in money or status or power. It is measured in the legacy we leave behind for those we love and those we inspire. Preservation of one's own culture does not require contempt or disrespect for other cultures. Grant me courage to serve others, for in service there is true life. The fight is never about grapes or lettuce. It is always about people. In giving of yourself, you will discover a whole new life full of meaning and love. Non-violence is not inaction. It is not discussion. It is not for the timid or weak. Non-violence is hard work.